What's up, friends? We're going to take a look at the before, and then we'll take a look at the after, see if you want to hang out with me and watch the breakdown of this mix.
God, you make all things new. God, you make all.
All right, and the after.
God, you make all things new. God, you make all things.
All right, and in the last video, we looked at session prep, dragging the files in manually, renaming things, getting it cleaned up, auto align on drums for phase, all that good stuff. And then I showed you how took my 20 plus years of mixing and however many sessions prepped up until I hired an assistant to do it for me because I hated it that much, right? But I built an app and I turned that first anywhere from 30 for a small session to 90 minutes or more for large sessions, and it does it in 3 or 4 minutes, depending upon your processor. But great stuff. It's called MIXPrep. I'll give you a quick look at that before we dive in, and then I'm going to be giving you an entire mix breakdown here today for this song. We're going to look at the template today. We're going to look at the session workflow, the routing, signal flow, my drum samples, how I'm using them, breaking out. There's some really cool things that I'm going to show you. Something I started doing late last year that I'll probably reveal towards the middle to the end once we get to it. But I'm routing my kick drum, sub kick drum samples around the bus processing. I found and committed across however many sessions I've done a pretty good 4 or 5 types of kick drum subs that I use. And so I've kind of built a kick system around this with Trigger too, but I'll show you that. Anyways, session prep, check this out. I got links in the description. I got the Founders campaign is officially live, and you can see how, those right there, labeled with the song, the artist, the key, and all that. We strip all that, just give the mixers what they need. You got the labels in the order that you want, all that. You can check this out. That's MIXPrep, link in the descriptions. There is a free tier, so if you interested in that, comment below trial, and I will post a link. You guys can check out the trial. Let's go back to Pro Tools. Today we are going to be breaking down Above Worship, All Things New. This is a mix that I did late last year, around, I think it was like September or October. Did a donation-based course and did the first video or so, and the rest of them just completely corrupt, and my health was absolute garbage. So we're full circle. We're going to do this. We're going to do it live here on YouTube for free. And then after a couple of days, I'll be pulling that down, putting it in control room, and then sending it to all of the people who donated with the session files, drum samples, all the good stuff that we use in this. So if you're interested in that, links in the description. All right, cool. So last video, we talked about session prep and how we've turned that into an app. MIXPrep, awesome stuff. Now we've got the template. So I want to give you kind of a look at the workflow so that you understand what we're doing. When we go to the drums, you already kind of have an idea of where the drums are being routed and how my template works before we start going to individual tracks. And so looking at my session, I learned to mix around the time that Pensado's Place came out. I was really starting to mix professionally. And so there's a lot of things that I adapted from Dave and a ton of the early guests. I remember having legal pads of just the yellow, full of just notes, Tony Maserati and Jason Joshua, and I mean, just the list goes on. And so one of the things that really stuck with me was loops and percussion, that kind of stuff up top, drums, kicks, snare, basic routing and stuff that you may like drums at the bottom of your session or whatever. I've just always done drums. Then you come down here, you got all the drum tracks in a folder. Then you got the bass, any bass instrument. If we've duplicated and created a bass amp tone or a distortion tone for the chorus or something like that, that would all be in the bass guitar folder. And then we'll talk how they route from there. But then you go acoustic guitars, electric guitars, because we all know that guitarist, that's how would you say that? It's a fine instrument. It's better than keys, right? Okay, so keys and synths come next. Piano, synths, keys, all that good stuff. Routing from there, this was a session where I actually recorded and layered vocals.
God, you make all
my robotic voice that I did. I used this $40 Mayano mic from Amazon, and was just like, it just feels kind of empty. And so you got these stacks here. So it goes from keys, synths, pads, strings, all the orchestral stuff. You can check out in MIXPrep. We have the full archive of the categories and everything. But anyways, background vocals, all that stuff would be there. And then the lead vocal followed by all the lead vocal effects and processing. You can see we go in on that. We're automating all kinds of stuff in here. And then from there, the effects folders. I have a series of effects for my vocals, like that I use almost every song. And it's going to be a varied amount of the gentle chorus. I've been using this since early 2000s, I want to say. Gentle chorus, then Dimension D, a stereo Dimension D. And then this guy here was modeled off the UA, what is that? The Cooper Time Cube. And so this is the Koopy Cube from Repeater, and that's part of the Slate Digital bundle. But 5 milliseconds on the left, 20 on the right. So I've got a series of effects. We'll get to that when we get to the vocals, but some of those, they just work so well. I use them. I have a collection of them for vocals in the vocals folder. And then I also duplicate them, and I have an instruments folder. And down here for the effects, you can see I've got time-based effects and different things that are also, so I have a split. And then they're EQ'd differently, and there's some things happening. But we'll get into the EQ and all that a little bit later. Just want to kind of show you the workflow. We get down past the effects, and I have the mix bus folder. And that's where I learned this definitely from Dave Pensato. It was all vocals, all drums. I can't remember if he had a drums crush or not. I think he might have. But then over the years, I started doing a drums distortion. That's a lot of fun on rock, usually pop sometimes. It could be fun on jazz too, but varied amounts. Then we have a percussion, congas, cajon, shakers, tambourine, anything that I'm paying attention to, I'm going to route to the percussion folder if it's in that category of instruments. Then we have the low end, which would be the bass, obviously, 808s, any sub drops or any low synth subs, sine wave, underneath the bass kind of stuff. All of it's going to go to the low end bus. And then we have all music, which is your guitars, keys, synths, strings, all that stuff. If it's not the other categories, it's going there. And I'll tell you why I break them all out here in a little bit. Also derived from Dave Pensato. Bob Horn, give a shout out. A lot of this template came from some things that Bob was doing, and Michael Brower and some other guys. But did a course with Bob over at Pro Mix Academy, and I stole it from him when we did that together. Name dropping Bob. Sorry, Bob. High end, that's going to be hat, ride, overheads, room mics, anything that I don't want to be affected by the all drums aggressive processing and the parallel compression. That's going to go to the high end bus. And if I compress the crap out of cymbals all the time, but if I'm doing that, I'm doing it at the track level more so than here. Whereas here, I'm really hitting the snare. I hit the kick and snare with compression quite a bit, saturation, parallel, all that. But then this is another layer of the drums together that's just kind of, I try to aggressively bring them together here. And I don't like the way that cymbals and overhead, all that stuff sounds in the processing I do. And so I do break it out. A little weird to have drums and then but that's how Dave did it. I learned it that way, and so we stuck that way. But all effects, yep. And so that's your modulation, your reverb, delay, time, all that stuff is going to all effects. And a cool way, Dave talked about this on ITL, 20 years ago. A cool way to use this, and I do it often, is if you have maybe a dead stop in the song or a section of the song where it gets more intimate, you can come to this all effects bus, select it, and just pull it down or automate it down, and then maybe crank it and do like a cool effect or something. But you can kind of tame the overall wetness of your mix by automating all the effects bus. Carefully, because got to remember everything's going through it. But okay, so these all buses, I think all of them have an instance of, still has it, the virtual mix bus from Slate Digital. And so depending upon the track, depending upon my mood, I may be driving the crap out of gain staging and trying to get hairy with it, or I may be getting out of hand and I may need to dial it back. And so this is here as a layer of saturation. I'm not afraid to hit it really hard, but you start to hear it break up in my toms or my vocals get a little bit too. It's usually because I'm slamming this, but we can quickly dial it back or gain stage it how we need to. But I've mixed through these for a really long time, and the collection of them at the buses and then again here, I like what it does. You can see I'm used to digging myself out of holes, but that's built into the template, and it's about that finished result. So stacking plugs, you can see slates, virtual mix rack here, virtual mix bus on the Brit 4KE. Depending upon the song, if I'm thinking about it, I may change these. If I do some indie singer-songwriter stuff, I may try like the tube, but it's always at least on the Brit 4KE. All right, so why else do we have these? Some other advantages. All vocals, you can see I did something I've never done before on this session, was the inflator on the vocals track. We'll take a look at that at the vocals video. But one of the key things that I like to do this for is for the all music bus here. I like to add stereo imaging from the get-go on most modern genres to give me that just kind of that hyper width, that hyper real feel. And I put an instance right out of the gate. 40% is just where it is in my template. Sometimes I crank it, sometimes I kill this. But right out of the gate, that's on. And then oftentimes what I do is I'll duplicate it, and then this one, I'll kill it, bypass it, and then automate. My Pro Tools preferences might have got it squashed. Anyway, so I'll automate it, and then just at the chorus, turn it back on. And so now you get 10, 20, 30% or whatever it is. You get wider, or the impression of that width. Things change, that's for sure. How much wider or whatever, but it's a cool effect. And then you get a little bit louder with it too. So I'll automate that at the chorus, and that's a ton of fun. So what else for the all music bus? I also will I do this all the time with Track Spacer, where I'll send the vocals to the all music bus, and I'll push the all music bus down in the frequency range that I select. A lot of times it's kind of in here, 600 to 2K-ish, and that can be a nice pusher down of things to free up space for the vocals. I'll do it first of all with the wideband. What do we got this set at here? 2.74. So I would initially set it up with it open. I would hit the vocal and the music hard, and I would crank this amount all the way to where I hear the obvious pumping effect and what it's doing. And then I'll open this up in here, and I'll massage the timing, the attack and the release, play with it. Mid-side, if that's what we're working with here for the for this one, we got a pan. It's 100% to the side. This is only affecting the sides. I think I did so I'm pushing the kick. The kick is pushing down the all music bus in the subs and the top end. So that instant hit from the kick drum, everything's getting out of its way. And then this one here on the sides is being fed from the toms. So I didn't even do the vocal thing I'm talking about here. I did something different, where now the toms are cutting through and pushing the music out of the way here in this instance. So I was rambling about the vocals, and this is actually set up for something different. But what do we have that at? 2.74. Can you double click it? No, it resets it. Well, somewhere in there. Hey, there we go. Anyway, so there's some side chain stuff that we can do by having the harmonic instruments. I don't know, how would you say it? Yeah, so keys, guitars, synths, strings, banjo. Yeah, everything except the rest of these. So some cool stuff there. But anyways, that being broken out, you can see how you can get creative and do some cool things with different sections of the song and whatnot. Okay, now the all buses that we just talked about and broke down here, they're going to feed Mix A. And again, shout out to Bob Horn. I used to do Mix A and Mix B. Mix B was parallel compression to my overall mix. And then Bob had Mix C. I take that back. Kenny Joya, long time ago. Shout out to Kenny. Old school days in the Duck, the DigiDesign user conference. If you know, you know. But Kenny Joya is the first one that I saw do the 1176 style parallel compression on the 2 bus. And then I think after him is when connected with Bob, and Bob did it even further. He'd had mix A, mix B, and then mix C for him was parallel clipping. And so he was just white noise, basically distorting the crap out of things, and then just blend in a little bit of that to kind of thicken it out, maybe put a little hair on the chest. And I took that from him. And then after stealing a technique from the dance world, the clipping before the limiting, I stopped doing mix C and parallel clipping and just do the clipping into limiting or clipping into ozone, clipping into clip. Yeah, who knows what ends up happening creatively. But yeah, so that's where it's coming from. So mix A, everything feeds mix A from these buses. And it's important to note, everything in the session goes to a bus that's selected right now. One of these that I call all buses. Kick drums go to their buses, whatever. They're hitting, everything in the session is hitting something here. That habit came from the old days when, it's so weird to say that, but you see a little salt and pepper in my beard and a little older. Pro Tools used to have a very obvious delay compensation issue. I'm sure there's maybe even some still, but if you didn't route everything through one of these buses and using them the way that Dave did, there was a delay compensation issue, a very obvious flamming phase issues that would happen. And so it just became habit. Everything went to an all bus, and it kind of worked out because you sum them there, you hit them with the different processing, and then they all kind of get a little love before the stereo bus, which is what mix A is, what a lot of you are just going to know as a stereo bus. And so I do have, we showed this, the virtual mix bus, and then your SSL style bus compression. And let's see how much we're hitting on this one.
Works of your hands, you make all things new. God, you make all.
Yeah, a little crispy. We'll investigate that maybe together when we get to the next video. Let's see.
Works of your hands, you make all things new.
We'll have to see, put my sub pack on and we'll track down. It's probably some low end driving too much. But anyways, conceptually, you can hear that it's all kind of getting hammered. So 2-bus is the BX Townhouse. I rarely change it. I love the controls, the sidechain filter to be able to make sure I contain how much energy the kick drum controls compared to the snare. I like to have a nice balance between both of them in the bus compression. So that's a great thing. Speed, you get what you need here. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife of bus compressors. And I dig that. There's tons on the market. There's probably better ones, but that's just the one I've been using for forever. So Goldfoss, love this. Nolly, Periphery, he get good drums. He showed this off in a video or something. And my buddy Jared Headley out of Colorado Springs, my wife had a shirt. It said Girl Boss or something. And he said Goldfoss. And I was like, I think that's, yeah. And then I checked it out. And yeah, hit with the same thing a couple times. And then I ended up looking at it. And the good people at Goldfoss sent me a copy. And I love it. It's been on my 2-bus ever since. I got the mastering version that I use in mastering if needed. And it's one of those, like Nolly said, I don't want to mix without it. And that's how I feel. So I will adjust the top end from time to time, and I play with the Brighton Recover. I'm so used to mixing through my template that things stay pretty like on the bottom end, and so this is usually just is there at that setting, and I mix through it like that. But Brighton, I've had great success like playing with it and eliminating some top end on some of them and having a good go with that. But if you haven't used that, that's one of my top 5 plugins, I'd say, for mixing.
All things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new. God, you make. God, you make. God, you make all things new. God, you make. God, you make. God, you make all.
Yeah, so I obviously never mixed with only the bus compressor on. This stuff was all on from the beginning, but it's pretty wild to hear the difference between that on and off. Massive difference. So mixing through this stuff is definitely Yeah, so Jackie called for, all right, so yes, and settings. Okay, so we're looking at, first up, let's see how hard we're hitting the mix A here.
Mighty works of your hands, you make all things new. God, you make all things new. You make all.
Yeah, okay. So you can see we're hitting it pretty aggressively. The snare's clobbering it. And then come over here. What do we have this at? We've got a 410 fastest release. So 410 auto. It's kind of a standard starting place, but the auto is more of a smear campaign. If you ask me, I don't like to use it on my Mix A stereo bus. But when I get to Mix B here, I don't know, did I use auto on? No, I didn't. Nope, I didn't. So, but it can be a nice touch on your parallel compression to use the auto as a secondary. So if I were doing it auto, I would use the first one that's knocking the transients down real nice and smacky like, and then I would move on to a second compressor and set this one to auto, and then use that as kind of a smear, but only on Mix B here, where we're talking about doing parallel compression and then blending it in. Could be a great way to help you smooth out the transients and get you some volume without being pokey. But yeah, so 410, and we got the fastest release here. Let's hear this maybe with everything. That might be the best way to do it, is have everything in and then one at a time, take them out to see what that was contributing. So let's see what we got, because that's the way I would have mixed it, not stacking them one at a time. So here's in, and then we'll take the bus compressor out.
Mighty works of your hands, you make all things new. God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new.
And then what I like to do when I set up my bus compressors, I like to really crank on it.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new.
Yeah, and then that would be when I would set attack and release. And so I typically start at 30 actually, and then I would pull that in, see how much can I grip on it before it gets pumpy and annoying, and then back off and see where does it feel best. I'm just kind of closing my eyes and having a go with that. And then we'll move over to the release, and I'll try the fastest release. I actually do start with auto, and then I go to fastest release, and then second fastest. A ballad or something, I may go a little bit slower, but usually it's these first two or auto. With auto being, man, if I'm really trying to just flatline something. But yeah, fastest release on this one, and almost never, well, that's not true. I use makeup all the time. I just, on this one, didn't. What was I going to say? Parallel, sometimes I'll pull this in if I've hit it more aggressively. I do really like that sound, to hit it aggressive and then blend back some, but man, just tinker and find what works for you. But sidechain here, it's at 50 hertz. If I take that down, it won't matter, because in this session, the kick drum is getting routed around Mix A. We'll come back to that in the next video. We're not going there yet, but after we end this stream tonight, the next time I go live, we'll be breaking down the drums every track, and I'll explain to you and show you how I'm routing the kick drum around everything. So I've already got a kick drum that has the low end has already been handled with bus compression. It just goes to the final clipping and limiting. And so I designed it that way to stop having to fight my low end all the time. There's a couple drawbacks that it kind of stinks sometimes, but for the most part, it's been great. But that's one of the things, is you can't really drive. Let me complete a thought here. If I wanted my kick drum sample, if I'm doing a worship song or a rock song where I'm using this setup, then if I wanted to get more kick into the bus compression for it to react to it, then I would just go side chaining. I will go side chaining it. And so I've got kick SC going to the bass for the sub. I would also send that a combination of the sub and the click to the Mix A and trigger it that way. So couple ways we can get around it, but I don't really do it often. It's usually I get a nice blend, and I mean, I built it from a finished mix, and so, you know, derive similar results and take some of the guesswork out of it for every mix for me. Okay, so we're going hard here. Let's see, we got any comments breaking it up? Nope. We're just chilling, so we'll keep going. Golfoss, let's hear that before and after. Here's with it.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new.
Yeah, you can so much clearer. But again, I wouldn't have mixed with that off. It would have been on the whole time. And so I never heard it like that. What am I doing here? I was going to come in and make sure. Oh yeah, let me get out of the way here. We'll just put that, there we go. So Golfoss, that's a winner. We won't spend too much time on that. I think I did a video on that. You can check it out. This will make a big deal to your low end if you're, and let me, this is a good time actually. I don't know if I put the link in the description or not, but I've got the Headphone Mixing Blueprint. And when you talk about low end, immediately I go to headphones and the sub pack. I don't have it on my back right now, but if you don't know what the sub pack is, definitely check that out. That changed my low end much for the better years and years ago. I think I'm still on the M2X, but this is a plugin that if you don't hear or feel the low end accurately on your system, this is going to jack you up. So over here, actually this is on 30 IPS for this song, but the 15 IPS definitely has got a low end bump. I think the 30 still does with this. Went from the Studer to this guy. I think I might be getting their character a little bit backwards, but let's check it out. Let's see what it sounds like. So here's on, and then we'll turn it off.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new. God, you.
Yeah, so it's blossoming. There's a volume difference, but blossoming and that low end is definitely filling out for us. So some pretty cool stuff happening there with that one. And then we have mid-side EQ. I'd be willing to bet, I don't even know, it might not even be mid-side. It might just be just EQing it to taste. And so just nothing really to explain. I just wanted more subs, more forward of the mid-range, taming harshness in the top end. Maybe something I felt was a little bit muddy in 325, and we dialed that back. How much? It's quite a bit, 0.71. I mean, these are pretty bold moves for this stage. Whoop, wrong way. Yeah, but so taming the top, yep, we explained that. So moving on. This sometimes is mid-side EQ, and there's some cool things I'll do here, but I didn't on this song. This is like Paul had a thorn in his side. This is mine. EQ match. It's one of those techniques that I do every mix, and that's fine, using it as a tool. But too often, I rely on it and keep it when I really think I should be doing more of going back and not being so lazy. Going back to the kick and saying, okay, kick-bass relationship, it was fine here. But this right here, like mid-range, forward, the top end, compared to the reference, it's just kind of dialing that in. I don't know, kind of arguing with myself here. It's a tool and I used it and it sounds good. But sometimes when it's a little bit more aggressive than this, I do go back to the track level and say, okay, this is obviously if it's top end, what are the elements that have top end in them? Let's go address that. More so I've been relying on, let's fast forward because this thing's awesome. Tonal balance control, I'm still on 2. Got to reach out to my man Dave Godowski because I saw 3 as it came out. I'm behind, but this thing right here will save you on a bad day. If you got a cold, you cut the grass and you come in, or your ears just aren't right, this can be a visual guide to help you lock in what's going on with the frequency spectrum in your mix. Let's go ahead and put mine to the test here and see where we're at according to a giant folder of some of my favorite modern worship mixes.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things got you.
Yeah, so we're definitely on the top end here. I think I referenced, I don't remember if it was a Sean Moffat worship mix or Sam Gibson. I think it was Sam Gibson. And the top end was just like whoosh, Cody Carnes, something like that. And it was up there. It was bright. And I thought, okay, well, modern CCM radio. Let's go a little more forward in the mid-range. Let's go top end. And that's what we came up with. I did still hold on to quite a bit of the low end that you lose. It was CCM radio. Sometimes you cut off a little bit too much for me, but yeah, can't handle all that bottom end on the radio, I guess. So anyways, moving on from there, what was next? We were back here. We looked at match EQ. If you're not familiar with match EQ, it's where you pull in a reference. For me, I use adapter AB. We'll pull that up real quick, and we'll see what references did we use on this. Let's keep that for a minute. We had the demo. I don't know. We got a bunch of stuff in here. So we had the demo, previous mix, Sean Moffat, some, who's that? Probably Chris Greeley. So different mixers, some things. And so when we pull our references in, I would hit play on the reference and capture and let that play for a little bit. I go to the high point of the song and let it ride for, a minute or two. And then in the reference, come back over and then capture my mix. And then this is going to show you what you can do to kind of make yours a little more like the reference. And what I'll do is exaggerate it, take a look at what's happening, and this right here is what I meant to do. Yeah, exaggerate it. And then I think to myself, okay, well, low end's probably pretty cool. There's something different about 1 to 200 there, 150, 220. So that might be a difference in, with CCM, it could be snare fundamental, might be living there. Not sure what is happening here. That might have been the source of why I cut that 325. I don't know. That might be a little higher. Anyways, I'm looking at this and I'm just kind of like reverse engineering, like what elements are living in these different frequency ranges and what might be happening that I need to pay more attention to. And that is a great segue into kind of give you a look at the Headphone Mixing Blueprint. I'll put the link down there if it's not there already, because I teach, first of all, I'll share what gear I'm using, the free calibration tool that I use for my HD 650s. It's Oratory 1990 on Reddit, and just Google that if you want, or you can pick up the guide and I'll walk you through setting it up, share additional presets. I've got some cool mid-range helpers for you. Shout out to Doug Weir, shared my Aventone his Aventone EQ. No, wrong one. Doug Weir shared the NS10 emulation. So shout out to him for letting me share that with you. And then this was the Aventone that I can't remember if it was Joey Fernandez or someone else. Anyways, I include those in the Headphone Mixing Blueprint. You download those, pull them into Pro Q3 or 4. And those are hugely helpful, especially if you're mixing on headphones. But in the Headphone Mixing Blueprint, I'm going to point you to frequency-focused referencing. And it's something I developed from hearing Dave Pensado. Give a shout out to him again. And he talked on a video a long time ago about turning off the mains in his studio or his monitors and just feeling the subs. And it got me thinking, well, I mix on headphones. Let me just take an EQ and take everything out and go down to the subs. I did a video on it for the pro audio files, and now that's all over it's all over the internet. It's a popular technique, right? But that's where it came from. That's how I coined it. And you basically go with the EQ down here, and I'll start and I'll click the reference track and I'll listen 20, 30 hertz, and I'll just start to open this up nice and easy and take note of where do I start to feel sustain in the kick or the bass. Do I feel the pulse of the kick, the sustain of the bass, or both? Are they clashing? And I'll listen to the reference, and then I'll click over and listen to mine. And so I'll walk you through. You got to level match, choose good references. Key matters because fundamentals and where that all. So I'll help you choose good references. Actually, I help you choose even better references now with MIXPrep. The upgrade has MIXPrep AI, soon to be coined MIXPrep Pro. Audio doesn't leave your hard drive, but with the analyzation, I can give you the full frequency-focused referencing report for not only your mix, your multi-tracks, but I can show the references and help you choose good references in MIXPrep. So links in the description, kind of a quick sponsored by me post there. But we open this up, the subs, and I'll go back and forth and compare. And then once I've got the low end dialed, where's the kick fundamental? You can learn a lot by zooming this magnifying glass on your mix. Then I'll take the low end out of the equation. And that's where we're going to start to look at the low mids and the mid range and whatever you want. I'll open it up and look at it in stages. And then once I have that kind of dialed, so I'll do this and run the NS10 or the Aventone preset. And so I'll do both sometimes at the end of a mix, especially if it's a new genre or something it got a lot of low end elements or something. I may spend more time on that. The more I've used it, the less I have to, but incredible tool, and it definitely helps you kind of laser focus in on the frequency spectrum and what's happening. So some utility tools and things down here to share, but let's maybe take a look at, we'll back up, we're bouncing all over, but let's look at parallel compression. I'll check in with you guys who are live, see if there's any. Jackie says, is Gullfoss similar to Waves Curves Equator? I am not sure. I actually haven't looked at Waves Curves Equator yet. My guess would be yes. It's probably similar, but I'll have to try it and check it out because if you have the Wave subscription, if it's comparable or, who knows. Okay, so let's look at the parallel compression. We'll have it on and then I'll mute it.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new. God, you make.
Yeah, so I'm going quick here, but a couple of things I noticed was when it was engaged, it was in, not muted. That's when it felt more cohesive, gelled together. And when I muted it, I actually preferred the sound of the kick and the snare transients better, but it didn't feel cohesive. And so, yeah, cool, you have a cool kick drum or a cool snare drum, but your song sucks or your mix sucks, right? And so I did like it there, but you can see we're hitting that with how much reduction?
God, you make all things.
Yeah, so about 4 dB at all times, 4 on the ratio, 30 milliseconds there, and second fastest release. Got a little bit of makeup gain, probably no. Yeah, so hitting it pretty good. Not slamming it, but and then what's this one doing?
God, you make all things new.
Yeah, and then if I mute, you'll hear what it's.
God, you make all
my kick drum coming through, but you can hear it's in there, but it's not like blasting. So that's contributing, I think, pretty nicely. And then mix A and mix B feed the mix bus. And so you can see they're both going to the mix bus. And the first thing we had here is I mixed a ton of live worship and live modern kind of gospel, black gospel, Dr. Toomey, that kind of stuff. And this mix, I went that direction, and then the more I got into it, I was like, it's not live, it's not any of that, and so let's kind of tame the bottom end a little bit, and let's push the mid-range and kind of reshape the sonic profile, and that's where this high-pass filter is not ever something I have just stapled on my mix. I feel like I got to defend myself, but it's rare that I have that, and I had a little bump there, so just touching the low end a little bit to kind of clean up. I like to mix with a very heavy bottom end. The way that I monitor and listen in the cars and the speakers, and I feel like I get a nice, depending upon the song and the genre, obviously, but I like to go big, right? Aggressive. And in doing so, you can get into trouble. But for this genre, that's just not where it needed to go. So cleaning it up. Then we were clipping into limiting. So there's a clipper. And then we switched from the Pro L2. I ended up running Ozone, and a part of my my chasing the more radio mid-range tone, that's what I chose with Ozone, and then ducked and dived and tried to find a way to do it post. I had a mix done. Let's try to tighten up on my words here. I had a mix that was like man, I really like this, but it was too heavy on the bottom end. It wasn't forward enough. It couldn't get as loud. And I was like, all right, let's shift that and let's go the direction that the song's calling for, which was radio CCM. So cleaning up the bottom end in the mid-range, Ozone did me a solid. And then over here, this imager, I think it had it like reducing the width, and I was like, no, we're gonna boost even more. So that's what I did. Clarity, I have a love-hate with clarity and stabilizer because I go back and forth, and I feel like as I boost, I got to do more to like make them, but then like I end up using them and liking them and keeping them. So it really is just me chasing with this and tinkering and trying to feel this out. I mean, it's a couple knobs, but usually dial it back a decent amount of what Ozone recommends. But anyways, those are cool. Sounds good. Let's hear Ozone as a whole. Here's on, and then we'll bypass it.
God, you make all things new. You make all things new. God, you make all things new.
And of course, that's nothing anyone wants to listen to, so I'm glad Ozone hooked me up, but I got to defend myself a little bit, man. I can't go out like that. That is not how it sounded before I used Ozone. I have made, this was last year, but I made decisions up against that, okay? Hang out with me for a little bit. You'll learn something. But it wasn't that muddy. But yes, cleaning it up and then going back and shaping a whole mix to funnel through that, it was quite the task. But we'll show you what we ended up at and all that good stuff here as we make our way forward. So I did copy the limiter over. I love multiband things, and so when I read that IRC5 from Isotope's Ozone Advanced was multiband, sign me up. I tried it. I loved it. I felt like I could push it more than IRC4 Modern or Transient, which I previously used a ton. And this is the one I've been rocking quite a bit when I'm trying to get more low end and still, forward and aggressive and all that. So it's not for everybody. If you're not trying to get as aggressive, maybe, but I don't know. The multiband, I love the fact that it's, helping us across the frequency range and not just a flat, just one pushing you down. So that's what we're using there. We can turn tonal balance control off, and let's talk about utility plugins. So we had adapter AB, we showed you that, the referencing plugin, showed you this, ProQ for frequency-focused referencing. We did show, tonal balance control 2. The Mackie DLZ is not that anymore. This is just the clean output. And that's what you guys hear. So you don't get any of my calibration. You get a clean signal from my session, goes to you. All course recordings, everything is like that. And then my audient is here, and that's what we're rocking, the Oratory 1990 650 profile. If you do take me up on the Headphone Mixing Blueprint, I'm pretty sure I included their link to Oratory's conversion spreadsheet that you have to use if you use the FabFilter EQ, which is my number one plugin of all time. It's my go-to. So I highly recommend checking the Headphone Mixing Blueprint out. It's going to walk you through how to do that, but if you use a different EQ, you're going to be fine to follow his exact spec. And I think I even walk you through how to set it up and tweak the shelves there too. So, and then one more time, I'll show you got the Aventone that I'll pull in. Sometimes Slate VSX I have somewhere. I'll pull that in as another reference at the end. If I'm traveling, I'm mixing only on headphones, then I'll pull that in. But and then the sub pack gets its own clean signal. My man Ryan, what was his channel? Earnhardt, I think is his last. Yeah, dude, he talked to me about the sub pack, and it was something about circuit boards and consoles and this and that, and the science of it was interesting, but I forgot half of it. Forgive me, but basically drive hotter. Use the sub pack, drive hot, and then control it with this is not correct. Drive the intensity on the sub pack, the box, all the way, and then feed into it. And that drove Yeah, I tell you what, when we went back and forth, he talked to me about it. I got to go back and look at the conversation because it's amazing the difference. So yeah, crank the intensity on the sub pack and then drive your signal from, like, I'll show you the audience. Come here to got the sub pack on its own channel here, and then I'm sending the signal here into the sub pack, and I can control how much it gets independent of the mix. And so that, for me, just make that thing hot, and I don't know how I haven't overheated it. It's just so much fun to mix with that thing. So you know what? We'll show it later. We'll show it when we talk about bass and low end and all that. So there is a kind of a quick look. If we zoom out, you got, I'll import often the before files, the raws, and then I use those at the end of a mix, end of a master, as before and after samples for course promotion, for mixing promotion on my website, themixacademy.com. I think it's /David Glenn Mixing. Before and after samples on there, control room. And so I'm always creating before and after samples. I didn't even mean for this to transition to an app I built, but my son and I actually built an app called MIXPrep, and we haven't released it yet, but it's going to be for control room members only. And it's basically going to take, you can upload your a quick bounce of the rough mix of the song, and actually MIXPrep creates an auto rough for you. So you can just take the auto rough from MIXPrep, drag that in with your finished mix into MIXPrep, and it will automatically create before and after samples that seamlessly, depending upon the tempo of the song, finds a tempo, locks it, and then does your transitions and everything really beautifully, and then exports your audio. And then what we did is built custom audio widget, so you can just embed it. It's got an embed card. It's all HTML designed and everything, and so students will be able to take that, use it on their website, and build their playlist of before and after samples. We got all kinds of ideas with it, but that's ready. I just haven't taken the time to put it up there. It's been a wild ride. So lots going on, but we're not going to get into that here. So we are just kind of doing a recap here. We got our before and after stuff up there. We got percussion, drum tracks. We'll look at that in the next video. We're going to do a full walkthrough of all the drums. We're going to hit play and listen and compare, and you can see what we got. We'll hit play, give you a little teaser. That's fun. And yeah, we'll look at the automation, why, the how to get all the triggers sounding natural as possible, and all that good stuff. So looking at the drums, you can see how they're routed. That's relevant for this video. Let's talk about, let's use the lead vocal as our guinea pig here, because I do this quite a bit. This is a workflow I picked up from Dave as well. And so come down here. It's a little bit scattered on this one. This is, I broke the vocal out into multiple tracks depending upon the section of the song, and we got EQ for different parts and created a double and all kinds of stuff here. What are we doing? Okay, so let's just look at the first verse. If we zoom in and look at this lead vocal, we've got the audio's on the track here. Everything is like you would expect. I'll treat the vocal here with some processing, and typically this first stage of processing is what I would have wanted to hear if I recorded it, right? So I'm just listening, and I'll just quickly shape it with EQ, compression, and dial it in. And then from here, I send the vocal to a crush, the crush bus. And so this lead vocals track here gets sent down to the vocal crush. I'm always having fun and changing things out, but this has been a staple since it came out. The Slate Distressor, I don't know, does it sound just like it? I don't care. It just sounds good. Squash it and forget it. Slam it and blend it in parallel. And then you'll see the vocal crush goes to the lead vocal level. And it's a little bit janky the way we're looking at it here, but the lead vocal, if I just had one vocal track, it would be like this. We could just put everything away. It would be lead vocal, gets routed to the lead vocal level, but it also sends the vocal crush here, right there. So you get a full signal of the lead vocal And then these two that I'm highlighting top left here, they get sent together to the lead vocal level. So now I've got my treatment, my parallel compression, and then now I'm treating them as a whole. For EQ, more compression, could be effects, it just depends. We'll look at all the processing for this song later in the vocals video. But then that's where I'm sending that now super compressed, if that's the direction we've gone. That's where I'm going to send to reverb, modulation, all time-based effects, all that stuff. Delay throws and everything like that. Unless I run out of room, then I'll come up here to the crush and send from there to more effects. But yeah, so that's the routing and signal flow that I use on the bass guitar. You can come up and see that up there. So we have the bass guitar folder. We have the raw bass. I don't know why I kept that, but it's there. Then we have the bass DI, cleaned up all the gaps. That's in MIXPrep now. It's only in my version, but it's coming to your version soon, hopefully. I got to stabilize Windows and Intel Macs, but lots of great things coming. Phase sync, still got to release that, man. It's going to be amazing. But more things to come. Check out those links for me. All right, but the DI here, and then if I use an amp tone, like this one's disabled, that would be duplicated, and then those would route to the bass level here. And then that would be where more processing would live and could go from there. This song, it looks like I forgot about that. Yeah, I sent to CLA bass from the bass level and then automated it at the choruses. That's pretty rad. We'll have to talk about that in 2 videos from now. So routing, signal flow, kind of got that covered, at least a brief one. And we do a whole deep dive in the control room that'll go even more in depth, and we look at a ton of different songs. But for now, for this one, that should give you a quick look at the mix template, water flowing downhill down to the mix bus, and that's the routing session flow, workflow. I hope that helps you guys. I'll tell you what, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. If anybody's got questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll answer them. I kind of did this stream late, so we don't have a ton of people hanging out, and I didn't email anyone to let you know I was doing it, so forgive me for that as well. But hey, if you're watching this and you made it to the end, drop a comment down below. Would love to answer your question. Hit trial if you want the trial to MIXPrep. We got a free trial. It's a free tier, and then I'm going to bake in a free trial. We got to fix that. So if you don't have a free trial right now, I at least have the free tier you can check out. But I appreciate you guys. Links to the founders page where you can take a look at all the things that MIXPrep is doing. I'll do even maybe, let's run into anyone who's hanging out. We'll show it in action while we wait for questions. And then we'll wrap this up. Hey, if you enjoyed it, man, don't forget, drop a like. Comment trial if you want the trial. You got a question about mixing, drop it. Would love to connect with you in the comments. And then if you do so quick, because this one will be pulled down and put into my memberships back in here. So for this is MIXPrep, and you're going to get, if you're first time launching it, if you have the MixRef upgrade, you'll be able to choose your references. You can do a quick look. Let's go with detail. Let's have some fun. This is a worship track. This is contemporary. High energy praise, warm intimate. Just kind of polished in radio, yeah. And so it's giving me a couple. Mavericks. By the way, that sample rate, we just fixed that. So bear with me. We did a lot of research in the sample rate conversion, and we'll let you read about that in the guide. Maverick City, and then I'm just going to skip that one. Radio streaming ready. What should this nail? Let's nail all that. That's all good stuff. But then this one, I don't want thin low end, harsh highs, or a muddy mid range, but I don't care about that. So I leave it alone. And then what do we got here? This is CC, let's say contemporary Christian, and probably even like Phil Wickham style radio ready. Just some keywords there. Says locked in. We're going to put it to the test. Now, MixRef is in beta. This is a preview. But if you lock in the upgrade with the link below, you're going to get that price. It's going to be, so right now it's $97 for core. You get the app, no MixRef, but you get the core features. $97 for that. Lifetime. It's one-time payment. If you want The upgrade right now is, what is it, $49 to get the AI upgrade. That's an annual, but you try it, you don't like it, you can get your money back. But it's amazing. I'm using it. And if you bear with me, if you buy now, MIXPrep now is a sidebar. The version 2 that I've got working in the back, it takes over the whole app, and it's a full MIXPrep studio. And you can drag in your references, pack and save and folder, and it auto categorizes and all kinds of stuff, and becomes MIXPrep Central, essentially, where you can save and have buckets of references and buy them straight from iTunes or wherever. It's going to be great. So anyways, MIXPrep over here is doing its thing. It's going to analyze, but I pulled in, this is not the same session. This actually is a Dr. Toomey session, and I'll show you. So this is one is labels and all this you can see here. Let me show you what it was. We'll clean it up real quick. Yeah, so the tracks came in. The originals are this, and then we turned it to, click the button. The analyzation and the auto rough is processing in the back, but you can see, bam, before, after, and you'll notice they're in the order that I want them to be in. And so we got drums up here, then the bass, then the guitars, keys, synths, orchestral. It's in the order that I set in the settings. Now, if you don't like my order, go to track order, DG default, come over here to custom, and you can say, I want my kick at the bottom, or you can highlight them, select them, and then drag them to the bottom, and you want your drums in a different place, or if you want your lead vocal at the top. The cool thing is you don't even have to reset or anything. Let's say you just want your lead vocal all the way at the top. Every session you do below the kick. You hit that, hit save, bam, it's no longer there. It's all the way at the top. And so you can customize this how you want, and we're improving it. I'm calling it the Founders Access because this is really inviting you to, let's build this together. We got great feedback from John Mike over at Gospel Producers. Tons of people have hit me and given ideas, so we added folders and different export options, and this is for us to build. In the Founders Access that I've linked below, if you join at the different tiers, you're going to have voting power to help what features come next and all that. It's going to be a blast, man. So we're going to do lives, coaching calls, and that's MIXPrep. So anyways, I was talking about this, the lead vocal. We'll go back to my DG default. Yep, save that, and it should snap her back to the bottom, and it did. Now, we do have a couple of uncategorized tracks, and that's normal. Every session is going to be a little bit different, but here's where things get interesting. I built a learnable dictionary. I've called it TrackSense. Okay, so TrackSense memory. And so right here, this is ODLNR. I can hit play on that real quick. It's going to tab to transient. It's built with I'm a Pro Tools guy, so it's built with Pro Tools keyboard shortcuts. Eventually, we'll make it for other DAWs too, but excuse me, it's for all DAWs, but the keyboard shortcuts will let you map it to your favorites. But with a MIXPrep app, we're not a DAW. We're a get in, get out kind of thing. And so if you need to know what that is for our gain staging engine, you want to categorize that, you want to put it where it goes automatically, then we can take a quick listen. We can clearly hear that's a guitar. And so we're going to go OD, guitar. We'll just put LR for now. And then it categorizes it electric guitar. And then that's a known bug. It will eventually snap it to where it's supposed to go. And so if you wanted to, you can click and drag where we have bass, old guitars, bam. We can put it where it goes. MIXPrep's going to learn that you wanted OD guitars to be. And so if you have your own naming, what am I trying to say? Nomenclature? Your own way of naming things, and you want MIXPrep to learn that, it's going to do that, and it creates a file on the in the app that allows you to go back to that. And then I'm even building into where we have different genres. Right now, it all follows my kind of main Dave Pensado workflow that you can tweak, but we're going to have presets that'll allow you to have that for different genres, how different producers and stuff like it. Tons of stuff on the horizon. But yeah, so this one here, the Terry D. Church, will hit play. Again, I don't want it to play from the beginning. I want it to snap to where it's, so I can hear what this is, get in and move on. As an organ. So we're going to come over here. I'm not going to change the name of the Terry D. We'll respect the name of the musician or the preset. But yeah, so it caught that's an organ. And again, we'll fix that. But I'm going to put that down here by the keys. And yeah, just below the piano usually. All right, cool. Quick look at MIXPrep. You can see over here, we have an auto rough created. Put myself on the spot here. I don't know if this is going to sound good, but let's take it. Does it sound decent is all I care about, right? It's not meant to be a mixing thing. It's just, let's get something that you can use. That does start at the beginning of the song, by the way. Program that. I'm proud of it, right? I will zoom ahead and listen. Yeah, you should hear my after mix of that one in control room. Okay, so that's another ordeal. So we got an auto rough. Those are the raw files, man. That's what they sound like. So we're moving on from there. So if we hit process, I don't know if we look at a mix ref over here, credits. I had credits and they were mostly right. I'm working on a fix for that. So I just pulled them for now. Don't want any false positives coming up here or whatever. Had a buddy of mine that didn't mix a song that mixed and yeah, anyway. So, but that's coming back and it works really well, but just want to clean it up. I want it to be perfect for you guys. So you can go check the song out. You can keep, replace. Again, this is amateur hour over here. MixRef is going to be so much bigger than that. When you join, you lock in the price. You're going to get the expanded version once we build that. But this is here. It's definitely going to be awesome references. Going to point you to some indies, some mainstream, some balanced. But there you go. So we're going to hit process for now. It's going to run in just a couple of seconds. Now, I'm explaining the app. I'm walking through everything. You literally could pull this up. I've got screenshots to prove it. Huge sessions, 2, 3, 4, maybe 7 or 8 minutes if you're talking about like 200 track live production with all stacks and just killing it with the track count. You might have to wait for that, but it's going to beat you. I'm fast, man. I've used Pro Tools, SoundFlow. It's going to beat you. So, and even if you could beat it, you don't have to do it anymore. So, there you go. So now it says sessions ready, boom, tracks, how many. We're going to clean some of that stuff up. But quick reminder now, MIXPrep is going to add a tag. For now, we're working on it, working hard on it. But at the beginning of all your files, the order that you like, it's going to get that because I put a 001 in front of it, 002, and so on. Well, this tells you how to get rid of it. If we open that up, let me actually take you to the report. You can see here, boom. This is a little more in line with the design of the HTML, but this is your mix brief. The other one will be your session intelligence report with all the data. But a couple of key things here. So we've got your tempo. We're going to be able to, we create a MIDI file for you so you can drag that into your session and lock. Also have church worship mode. I don't know what we're going to call it, but you can take a full Sunday worship session and drag it into MIXPrep, walk away, come back however many minutes later, depending upon your processing, and you're going to have your tempo mapped out, all your tempo changes for your different songs mapped to the click. You're going to have the key, all that good stuff, key changes. Now, if you have a 20-minute gospel song, like I am blessed to be sent often, it's 4 songs, by the way. Don't try to send me a 20-minute song and it's one rate. But you get the full length of that, right? You drag that in. Key changes. If it changes, it goes down, it goes up, wherever. MIXPrep's going to note that, and it's going to snap to the nearest bar, and it's going to correct your DAW. So your DAW will then follow the MIDI of the tempo and the key changes, any of that good stuff. So super useful. I have not tested it on super large sessions, and so that's where I haven't released the, I don't know if we call it church mode or whatever, but LW mode, live worship. I got to work on the name. But anyways, you got more useful information down here. We do I didn't even tell you, we do the stereo to mono thing, stereo mono stuff, conversion. And then also we'll flag and let you know if it's near dual mono, and then let you decide if you want to keep or whatnot. I didn't even walk you through the intake because mine's already built, but you set the app up the way you want it from the beginning. And so when you launch it, question, it's going to walk you through, do you want to trim the silence? Do you want to strip the gaps in your bass? Do you want to, and then you can tune the app how you want it to work. So you come in here, it's going to list the categories of tracks, audio, it's there. You just go to the folder, but there's your MIDI file, the rough that it created, and then the report will be there. We do have a JSON file that will tell you, so we changed the names of your files, but it's a backup. So I prefer to drop a zip on, and then MIXPrep will unpack that zip and organize the folder for you. But any files that we change in the MIXPrep folder, it will tell you in this JSON right here, it'll tell you, hey, what was it named, and what did we change it to? And so you can pull that up and see if a client messages you and says, hey, my bells Bell synth laser, whatever, is really quiet, you can be like, wait, Bell synth laser 3.0, whatever. That you can look quickly and see, oh yeah, that's this, and move on. But okay, at the bottom you have your DAW import. Is just a TXT for now, but I'm gonna have pictures and the whole guide. I think I have a copy of the guide right here. Yeah, so you can see Mac, Windows is in beta, and so the guide will show you Apple Silicon and Intel instructions, all that good stuff. So where were we? Yeah, right here at the report. So this is going to show you how to import. Each DAW has got a little bit of different quirks and whatnot for importing and getting rid of. But let's say I was importing those files. This is a session that already has like kick in and stuff. So I don't know how this is going to go, but let's drag from here, boom, and we'll go grab our MIXPrep. So it's a backup audio. Now here, I like mine all in one folder. I just like to grab it and drag them all in. If you prefer them to be in folders, MIXPrep will actually do that for you. If you go to settings, you come over here down to categories and subfolders. So under the export section, boom, categories and subfolders, and it'll put them in those folders for you and do the numbering thing so it keeps them organized. Coming is the ability for you to customize what folders, if you want the numbers, or if you don't. I know some gospel cats, they like drums, BGVs, effects, keys, organ. They break out more than what I've done here, and so we're listening. We're gonna make that right for you guys, so you can export them the way you want. Now, backup originals before processing. I start from a zip, and I just drag that onto MIXPrep, and then what that does is I always have that original zip as a backup, and I use Backblaze, so I'm always getting backed up every night. The backup here, I have it unchecked, but if you check it, you're going to get another backup. And that's, you have one, you have none, you have two, you have one. I have three essentially with that, and that would be four, and that's a little bit crazy. So I tick that off. But if you're dragging from a folder, I definitely recommend backing up, and then you'll have an extra copy. So a couple of things there that you can choose and whatnot, but yep. Trying to take you guys into lots of passion going into this right now. The health stuff has just made it getting on camera consistently. I've got nervous system stuff, and I slur my speech sometimes, and I have fits, and so it's been difficult. But a lot of passion going into this, and it's something that I've been able to do. And man, so excited. Hope you guys are excited as I am. So check it out. Links in the description. If the free trial is not there now, the free tier is. And so I'll get that up probably on the page. I won't put the free tier link to here. I'll put it on the page. So we'll get that figured out. But for now, if you want to get in early and lock in the price, it's going to go to, we'll have a rent to own eventually, but it'll probably be in the $2 to $299 range for the app once it's built out with MixRef Studio and everything. We also have phase sync, automatic phase help for your drums, we'll call it. And it's very impressive what the technology can do. So it's beating my daily driver right now, and I'm in beta. So coming soon, Tom Strip, the Tom Trick. If you don't know, if you're not familiar, I'll just point you to the page, man. It's exciting. You can check out and read more about that. But anyways, fix the licensing issue. Appreciate you guys and your patience if you're a customer and you're hanging with me still in this long video here. But you guys are awesome. Thank you again so much for your support, and look forward to seeing you guys in many more videos. The next one, we're looking at the low end. And so if you want to check that out, like it, subscribe, tick that bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you guys.